Now, this year is a big anniversary for fossil fans. It's 200 years since the discovery of the first ever Lycophosaur marine dinosaur fossil, a very significant find, and it all happened down at Lyme, Regis. Fossil hunter Mary Anning lived there for most of her life, so our reporter Zoe Kleiman went for a guided tour of Lyme Regis landmarks.
It's an absolutely glorious day today down here on the beach at Lyme Regis, but we're here to turn back the clock nearly 200 years and find out about one of the town's most famous residents. Natalie Manifold leads guided tours of the town's connection with iconic fossil hunter Mary Anning. So Natalie, we're here at the beginning and we're just by Lyme Regis Museum. What happened here?
Basically, Lyme Regis Museum is built on the site of Mary Anning's home. When they moved in 1799, it would have been sort of quite a higgledy-piggledy looking building with lots of different period features from different eras. It would have been an area where the poorer members of society lived. For example, the area in front of the museum in those days was called Cockmoyle Square, and Cockmoyle is actually the old West Country name for a prison.
Really? It was a prison?
Yeah, so there would have been a fair few unsavoury characters hanging around this area.
So for Mary Anning to be out hunting fossils, was that a sort of get-rich-quick scheme?
It's nice to think that, but no, definitely not. It wasn't really the done thing for women to do. There were lots of kind of mysteries and legends associated with fossils. Some of them are called devil's toenails, the others called snake stones, and it was often associated with witchcraft. I think she was just trying to do whatever she could to help her family.
So we've seen where Mary Anning grew up. Let's go and see where she died. Well, we're just a little bit further up the high street from where we started now, and we're standing next to a surf shop and a charity shop, and there's a barely noticeable plaque on the wall, but this is a really significant place, isn't it, Natalie?
Personally, I think it needs a blue plaque commemorating this fact. For Mary Anning, this is a really important place of business. Lots of scientists visited her here. Some of the best finds were made while she was living here.
And it was breast cancer that she died of in the end. She died right here, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. It's quite unfortunate, really, that at the time people didn't really realise that she was suffering in such a way. We think she'd become increasingly reliant on laudanum for pain relief, but the rumour in the town was that she'd turned to drink, and so this can't have helped her.
And that takes us on to our final destination. So we're now outside St Michael the Archangel Church, and it's where Mary Anning is buried, isn't it?
In front of us we have the headstone of Mary Anning. When you look at it, you can see that Joseph Anning, her older brother, is listed at the top. He died in 1849. Underneath it, you've got the 3 children who died in infancy. We know that they're actually his children. Underneath that listing, you've got Mary Anning herself. And what's interesting in particular about this headstone is that she died earlier than he did, but she's listed lower down the gravestone.
Why is that?
We think it was just the convention of the day. Because he was considered the head of her household, she wasn't married, that space was just left at the top for him when he died. And you can certainly see when looking at the gravestone that some of the lettering seems to have been squeezed in places as if it was added at a later date. One problem we have with this headstone, we don't actually know if Mary Anning is buried where the headstone is. Because of our local geology and it being very unstable here, we're constantly losing land to the sea, and at some stage all the headstones were actually moved forwards towards the road.
Do you feel a connection with Mary Anning?
Definitely. I think not particularly when I'm guiding people around the town, but when I'm actually on the beach hunting myself, you can identify with the fact that it was so labour intensive, and the high price that something like an ichthyosaur would command was very well worth it. The amount of effort, I mean, sometimes they took up to a year or longer to uncover. So it was definitely a fitting thing to have such a high price tag.
Zoe Kleiman there talking to Natalie Manifold, who runs Lyme Literary Walking Tours.